There's another question of when is it okay to directly proposition sex?
Mhm.
And so like the example that you gave with J.R. Smith is like, hey, you're coming to the city. And he responded, you want to get the pipe. To me, that's a little too soon.
Oh, I actually think everybody can proposition whenever they want. You might you might be creepy.
Yeah.
People might not. Here's the thing. You just have to back off as soon as there's a no.
I mean, this taken to its extreme, that behavior results in some person who...
She hit him up first. He didn't instigate. So what this would look like if this were universal is when you get an unsolicited DM, you're allowed to ask the person if they want to have sex with you.
Yes. And beyond DM, I mean, you could take that to the real world. I think that, and whether we cancel, I don't think we need to cancel this, but I would say as a matter of social propriety, you should wait for... there should be a give and take that gets you closer.
He didn't want to waste her time or his time.
That's how he felt. And I mean, listen, I get what you're saying, which is
he's not
into his shoes. He's got a list of these things, and he knows
not blasting them off. And if he is, that's different. And there should be different rules for if you're going to just blast off to 1,000 people. Sure, but if someone messages you out of the blue, and you respond with that, and then she says no, and then you say, "Okay, sounds good." Why is that bad?
You know, I do have to sit and think about this. Part of it is like, I can't tell if this is American society that needs to grow up and be able to acknowledge that people want to have sex and encourage people to say no and encourage people to ask more.
That's where that story went with J.R. Smith. She said no. And
well, this girl might have been underage with J.R. Smith, which I think is obviously different. Like,
yes, that is different.
Yes. So let's pretend for this case that this is someone who is not underage. If you say hi to someone, I mean, personally, that's not how I would want to behave, and I know you wouldn't. And I'm going to say
no, but let's say I hit up. I don't want to say a famous female celebrity.
Yeah,
I won't name anyone, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm a huge fan of yours. I started coming to my city. I'd love to meet up with you.
She says, hey, do you want to come over and have sex?
You want to come over and have sex? I go, that not what I wanted. No, thank you. I was just thinking drinks. She said, no, I don't want drinks if you're not going to put out. I go, okay.
Yeah.
Has she done anything wrong?
So the vision of the world that I understand, which is like, it's a nice world where people can state what they want to adults, be told no, accept no.
This is also all being done on the phone, which I think removes a lot of the pressure. Like, it's one thing if J.R. Smith is standing above you in a bar and he's gigantic and your back is to the bar and you're a woman and you're scared. Mm-hmm. But these are being done via DM. I think if you can't say no to someone via DM, what does that say? That says that he has so much social power that when he DMs you and asks,
well, it's not DM. Well, this is the question: is what responsibility do you have socially to make people comfortable?
That's what I'm saying.
To make people comfortable, not just. It's that you could say no, but you would feel uncomfortable in the moment of having someone ask that to you, even via DM.
That's how I feel when people try to sell me stuff. That's how I feel when people try to get me to donate to charities that I don't support. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel anytime someone tries to upsell me anything. I'm constantly made uncomfortable by people wanting things from me that I don't want.
I'm coming around to this. This is probably...
And we're fine with that. No one begrudges the car salesman that tries to get me to go from the $25,000 car to the one with the moonroof for $29,000. We might poo-poo salesmen as slimy, but we don't say they're doing something wrong that should get them fired from their job or whatever it might be.
Or that they would have to make a public apology.
And now I'm in the same uncomfortable position of either saying that I don't want this, and they're like, oh, a guy like you won't even notice, right? They're like trying to put social pressure on me.
Yeah.
But this is just happening all the time.
You know, I feel like part of what is underlying so much of this, and Crystalia's apology, is that sex is so taboo in American culture. It's like you can ask people to spend more money, you can ask people to join your pyramid scheme, you can ask people to do this, you can ask people to, you can come to someone's door and say, join my religion. You can do all of these things that have a dramatic impact on your life.
A fan can DM you and say, I absolutely love your work. I think it's so great. I'd love to get on a call with you. And you're like, I really appreciate the message. I really appreciate that you're watching my stuff. I just get a lot of these messages, so I can't. And then they'll start to say, well, how could you say this to me? I'm your biggest fan. Now they're going to put pressure on you to get on the phone with them. Similar uncomfortable dynamic.
Yeah. No, what you're saying is that we have...
I have a weird view about sex, which is when it's amongst consenting adults, it's not a big deal.
It's not a different decision to enter into than other decisions, whether you join a religion, sign up for extra business stuff, hang out, get on the phone with someone.
Assuming that you're sober and it's consensual and you just regret it afterwards because the relationship doesn't work out the way you'd hoped, it seems very similar to a bad business deal or a bad friendship or any other thing that just doesn't go the way you'd hoped.
You're moving me. I think I'm there. What I'm noticing is that my gut reaction is that sex is somehow inexplicably different. And as I dig into it rationally, I go, I can't find out why it ought to be. I was just raised to have this, you can't look, you can't say, private parts type sense of it all.
Yeah, assuming people are of age, consenting, sober. I don't. And by the way, if you are religious and you think that that's not right and sex is sacred, you are allowed to treat sex as sacred to you. Mm-hmm. And if someone comes up to you and propositions you and you say no, they will respect that because, like I said, this is about consenting adults.
So what you're saying is, yeah, we're almost, I mean, I kind of like the vision of the world you're painting, which is clear communication, which I don't know how we get here. It's clear communication with a population that is, that knows how to say no because they've experienced that and been trained to say no when they don't want to, much in the same way that you know how to not take a flyer from the person in the street if you lived in the city for a while. And
I do think sexual pressure via DM to me is just, that seems like a tenuous. If you met up with a person and then they trick you back to their apartment, they say, oh, you should come back to my apartment, and they go, no, I don't really want to have sex tonight. You go, no, it's not about that. I'm going to show you a script that I've been writing. Mm-hmm. And they come up to see the script and you go to the bathroom, you come out naked.
Yeah.
Super uncomfortable, very uncomfortable situation. And you might end up having sex even though you don't want to because it's just so
and you're pressure and you're scared of physical.
You feel trapped. They're between you and the door, right?
Yeah.
The next level to that, much less so, but still very inappropriate, unsolicited naked photos, right? Same level. But to get a message on the phone while you're in different physical locations.
But what you're saying, you're also distinguishing between who reaches out, as if I'm understanding.
Yeah, I'm saying when you reach out to someone and they respond with a, oh, that's awesome that you like me. Do you want to get a drink and then come back to my hotel after? Mm-hmm. To me, the idea that you would feel pressure to do that beyond the fact that you...
Well, not pressure. It's not pressure to do that. It's uncomfortable by the statement. It's
Sure, but don't respond or say no.
Got it. I like the vision of the world that you're painting where we're all not so sensitive and fragile that we can't handle that. It's nice to think about. One of the, there was something else that I wanted to add, which is an important caveat, which I'm going to forget and will come up in the comments and haunt me because I didn't say it. Go ahead if there was anything.
No, in sum, I was interested. I watched the video and I thought it was interesting because the thing he said he's sorry for, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, was that they were familiar with me, they liked me, and there was a power dynamic. And that seems true of every time two people have ever had sex.
That is what people are attempting to make happen.
I've never had sex with someone who wasn't familiar with me in some way, liked me in some way, and there was a power dynamic going both ways. There always is.
Well, and so they say power imbalance, but quite frankly, like, I've felt like I've had sex with people where they had a tremendous more power than I was, way more invested and tried way harder and showed up at their play and made you come with me.
Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles. Like, beautiful women have power.
Beautiful men have power. Yeah, people have power in a way that goes beyond fame.
That's all I'm saying. Yoko Ono broke up the Beatles. So every person, I guess, has power over the other. And then there's a power imbalance sometimes in the male to female direction or the female to male direction. Mm-hmm. In every relationship to some degree. Sometimes it's a little bit, sometimes it's a lot, sometimes it's a lot the other way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and what I can say is from a practical standpoint, and so there's these moral considerations, then there's practical ones. And the practical one, which I understand, is like, look, actually, here's what I wanted to say. I think part of the reason that you are advocating for the yes, no, I do, I don't want to is also because you expect that when J.R. Smith or whatever athlete sends those response messages out, he's going to get a very high yes rate. Like, I think that is factored into a little bit into your decision making there. If somebody's going around constantly getting no's from those sorts of things, like, hey, maybe stop asking. Like you've got enough signal to know that like this is not a legitimate question at this point that anyone's going to say yes to. But J.R. Smith's experience, I'm pretty darn sure, is lots of yeses to that. Lots of I understand what you're putting on the table and I'm going to come make it happen.
Yeah, and then it's a spectrum. Every change in circumstances changes the answer a little bit. So if you're the first person messaging, that's different than if you've received a message. If you are I
don't think you wouldn't want to socially encourage outbound or in-person messages propositioning sex, because if that was socially encouraged, that would just be such a pain of a world for women to wade through.
Yeah.
Like that would be fucking awful. You wouldn't be able to read messages from your friends because it would just be an onslaught.
Honestly, this is the Crystalia question. Is J.R. Smith doing wrong by saying, I go to different cities all the time because I play basketball in the NBA and I'm only trying to spend time with someone tonight if there's a good chance we have sex?
Yeah.
Because I'm J.R. Smith getting a bunch of DMs from women.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are very excited to have sex and some of them just want dinner. And I don't want to get dinner with the one that just wants dinner.
Yeah.
And so if I'm the one getting the 50 DMs, which Crystalia said he's getting 50 DMs every time he goes to a new city. So I'm J.R. Smith. I get the 50 DMs. I want to have sex with someone. That's just what I've chosen to do as J.R. Smith. Am I wrong for that? Is that the evil? Because if that's not the evil, then what he's doing is just filtering as quickly as he can for what he wants.
I think there's also partially what we're expressing is that people feel disappointed, let down, hurt when their expectation does not meet the outcome. And so you get someone like Dan Bilzerian, where his public persona is such that if you just sleep with him and he never contacts you again, your expectation should meet the outcome of that. And perhaps that's more true with athletes and rock stars, and perhaps it's less true with comedians.
But
I don't know.
Doesn't the direct messaging address that almost to some degree? If Crystalia,
it clearly doesn't.
If you say, hey, I want Charlie, I'm a huge fan of yours and I would love to get dinner. And you say, okay, why don't we go to Nobu and get dinner? And you don't mention anything about being sexual. You have set no expectations.
This is the Aziz Ansari, by the way.
If you write, okay, got a couple questions for you first. Do you live in LA? Are you single? How old are you? Mm-hmm. You're demonstrating that you have you're tentatively demonstrating that you have some sexual interest. You've level set more the expectations. When J.R. Smith says, do you want the pipe? As the first thing he says, he's hard setting the expectations. So yeah, society having a rule that says maybe have a couple messages first, but I almost feel like when you try to present yourself as if that's not all you want, as if you're not a comedian or an athlete that's just going to leave the city tomorrow and never contact you again, that does more harm, I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems like...
Hope that you guys enjoyed that clip. If you want to see more like this and have us do more podcasts, we are 100% funded by our generous patrons. And if you'd like to contribute, there's a link in the description, and we'll have one pop up on the screen right here so that we can do more podcasts where we have fun conversations and hopefully some deep ones like this. Either way, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one.